Good evening, everybody. Hey, Naomi, welcome. Okay, looks like we have Kate, Abigail, Naomi, John, and Blythe. So we have a quorum. So I will call this meeting to order at 7:03 of the November 8th special meeting of the Kent's Park and Recreation Commission. Definitely a bittersweet time for the commission. Bitter in that we received Jared's letter, but positive that he's on to some good things. So I guess we should. Can everyone hear me? By the way, it's all very quiet. Okay, good. Okay, so no alternates as of now. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approval of minutes from previous meetings. So we have the minutes of the September 27th and the October 16th meetings in the drive folder. Does anyone have any discussion of those minutes?
The October 16th meeting doesn't list me as there, and I was there.
Okay. So we can make that update. Just write that down. So we'll hold off on approving the 10-16 meetings. Any other comments? No. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the September 27th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thanks, John. Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Finance reports. I didn't see any in the folder, so maybe we'll just move past that. Is that all right, Jared? Good with you. Okay. Correspondence. Accept resignation of Director of Parks and Recreation. Jared, do you want to take the floor for this?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, moving on to another job, and I just want to thank you guys for having me for the past 2 years. We accomplished a lot together, and I know, like Mike said, it's bittersweet, but I think in 2 years we did probably like 5 years worth of work. So I think everybody should be really proud of that, and hopefully we can use this meeting to get started on the process of finding someone who's can keep it going and even take it to the next level. And yeah, I really appreciate everything. I assume this will probably be my last meeting. So I guess real quick, thank you guys and thank the town board. But most importantly, thank everybody in the community for really getting on board with what we were trying to do, and making it so successful by supporting us and sharing in the energy and enthusiasm that we brought. So I will miss everyone greatly, especially the kids and the seniors with whom I've formed a lot of special bonds. But it was not the situation here. I think everybody knows wasn't probably tenable, and but it was 2 great years, and I'm really proud of them. So I appreciate you guys once again for having me come here to Kent and giving me the opportunity to do some great stuff. So thank you.
It's for us to thank you, Jared. You've been amazing. I think you surpassed everybody's expectations and done so much for the town, and we'll always remember that. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome.
think it similarly to when Miranda resigned, it would be beneficial for us to actually conduct a formal exit interview with you, Jared, to understand as a commission how we can support the next director and just have a debrief on your 2 years and do that in an executive session.
Yeah, Mike and I were talking about that the other day. I'm more than happy to do that. And like you said, I think executive session would be the best place to do that. But certainly happy to share my thoughts and ideas and experiences in more detail. Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be really beneficial. And of course, I don't think I have to say what a great loss it is. And you've done a lot for the programming. And I just have to say that the parks, the fields at KCS, it's really tremendous. And I had a pit in my stomach when I walked to the playground and saw the tires out on the baseball field and thought, oh boy, there's a lot you've done and how we're gonna keep up your momentum.
Well, that's what I think we'll come up with a good plan, and that's why I wanted to extend my final day till the end of the year. So hopefully that gives us a solid. I mean, it's really still the beginning of November, so 2 solid months to really come up with a good plan to keep it going and make sure that the next person who comes in is, basically stepping onto one of those like airplane walkways where everything's already moving and in motion, and they don't have to do too much except learn what we do. So I think we can accomplish that for sure.
Real quick, Jared, I just want to say thank you. These past 2 years have been so exciting and gratifying, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for everything you did for us.
You're welcome. And like I said, thank you guys for the support. Team effort for sure. You guys got on board with some of the more perhaps, I guess I'd say, different and new ideas that I wanted to bring to the table, and you really supported me and gave me the chance to prove that there was some validity to them. And I think that that can't be understated. It's one thing to come with ideas, it's another thing to be supported when you have them, and you guys certainly you did that and more, and I appreciate it greatly.
Well, Jared, thanks for being flexible about your exit too. I think that's going to be really helpful for us as we try to maintain a smooth transition. But if everyone has had a chance to weigh in, I'll keep it moving.
I just want to make sure that we get a exit interview probably before the end of the month. We missed that opportunity with Leslie, and I think that was I think we should have done that. So I want to make sure we prioritize doing that. And agreed. I can help you however you need help, Michael, to do that, to schedule it.
Okay. Yep, I have it written down, and I will. And Jared wants to participate in that too. So I don't see any reason why we'll miss out on that. With Leslie, who knows how it slipped through the cracks last time, but yep, we'll make sure it doesn't this time.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of our current director, Jared.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Abigail. Any discussion? All those in favor? Regretfully. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to public comment. I got an email from Tom and Ellen Ryan. I'll just read it. It says, hello, there was a Park and Rec social media post on October 5th saying the details for the 2024 ski club with Mohawk Mountain would be coming out in the next 2 weeks. I don't think I've seen further information on this though, and I believe registration had already occurred by this time last year. Can you please confirm this program will be taking place again for winter 2024? Thanks, Ellen Gutierrez.
Yeah, I already responded to them.
Okay.
They literally just got us the information yesterday. They switched their online registration system, and they literally just got everything up and running for Parks and Rec yesterday. So I honestly haven't had a chance to get it out, but I let them know that.
Okay, thanks, Jared.
Yeah, no problem.
Was there anything that came into the main Parks and Rec email?
No. Okay. Well, besides that, but yeah.
Besides that, and then the Barbara's email about the capital planning. Okay, so let's move on to
Hey,
programs
Mike.
events. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wonder, I don't know Naomi. I don't know if
No,
maybe Naomi wants to introduce herself to the
great
group.
call. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hi, some of you may know me, some may not, but I'm Naomi Joseph and I live here in Kent also. I'm very new to the board, but I'm also part of the board with some of the members here, John and and Kate on Board of Eds. I also sub in the district and I have kids at Kent Center. Being part of this board is actually, it's new for me. I'm now starting to learn, the ropes and what's happening. So I'm very happy to serve and be part of it and see what direction we're gonna go.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome.
It's great to have you a part of the commission.
Thank you.
Okay, well, programming and events. Jared, do you want to take over again?
Yes. Do you want to, since I got a lot of stuff up on my screen, can you tell me what the first one is on
Yeah.
there?
So it's for A is adult winter yoga.
Okay, so our yoga program was really successful. We filled up the class entirely. It was set at a max of 15. We got 15. So I'd just like to run the program again in January. And once again, that's what I'm trying to do, is get all these programs basically locked in and ready to go for whoever comes in. And already have the community house reserved and everything. So basically just need approval to run a 6-week yoga program with Dawn Delpha. For a cost of $90 a person. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the program that took place or is in the process of taking place if you guys have any questions.
Sounds great.
So sorry, Jared, so the program's ongoing and we're looking to continue it.
Yeah, so we did a 6-week session, and just like to do another January 6-week session. And obviously if that's successful, the goal would be to do one in the spring and even one potentially over the summer. So basically just a winter session of the program, of the 6-week program.
6 weeks, $90 total.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's very reasonable. Okay, great. Does someone want to make a motion for a winter adult yoga program for 6 weeks beginning in January at a cost of $90 per attendee?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thanks, Blythe. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, great. We'll continue with the adult winter yoga. B was adult basketball, Jared.
Adult basketball. Yeah, we ran this last year. It was a free program. Ben Brady volunteered to run it. He'd like to run it again. So I've already cleared all the dates with the school. So basically I'd just like to run a free adult basketball program at Kent Center School. And have Ben Brady be the coordinator. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. They play basketball for like an hour and a half, pickup games. And Ben, last year gave Ben a stack of waivers, and people as they come in, they sign them, and we're all done. I'm sorry, just you guys give me 1 second. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, seems pretty straightforward, and I feel like basketball at the Kent Center School adult basketball has been a regular thing for ever since I've been in Kent.
Sounds great. Things to do in the winter,
if
whatever we can offer is awesome.
Yeah, totally. And if you clear it with the school, sometimes obviously there's conflicts with random stuff, but it sounds like he already figured out what days work, and I'll just wait till he gets back. But
sorry, what was that?
No, just kind of fill in the air with positive basketball thoughts. So can we get a motion to continue adult basketball? Again, the name of the volunteer is
Ben Brady.
Ben Brady. Adult basketball at Kent Center School, run by volunteer Ben Brady.
So moved.
Thanks, Naomi. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Blake. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
John, are you voting on these or are you not voting on these?
I am saying it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not hearing you.
Okay, so that is a go for adult basketball. C, Jared, is adult winter aqua aerobics.
All right, so we started our aqua aerobics program today, and it really, really went super well. Everybody loved it. We filled the class completely. We had 17 participants. So we'd like to do the same thing, run a 6-week program. I don't have the dates yet, but it'll be January into February for a cost of $35, and have Van Mofert run it again. And that'll be a Wednesday morning program.
That's at Kent School.
Yeah.
And is that something that we need more than Mo present for?
No, because we also have, we have a lifeguard. A lifeguard as well. So, but other than that, we don't. I was there this morning, but I'm not going to be there next week, and she's all set. She's all good.
Great.
How many weeks is it again, Jared? You said
6 weeks.
6 weeks, and it's $35.
Yeah, that's what we set the cost at last time. So for the sake of continuity, I just prefer we leave it at that. And if you guys want to revisit that in the future, go for it. But I'd say for now, let's just keep it the same.
So that's 35 covers all 6, or is that a per?
35 total. Yeah, it's because it's a senior program. Last time we had discussed, the fact that we're partially subsidizing it, but not a whole lot.
And what's the cost of the pool to us again?
So we were in there for about 2 hours. It's $100 for that, but that's just for the seniors. They're giving us a big discount. For the other programs, it's more expensive.
Okay. Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to renew our adult aqua aerobics in January and February? Specific dates TBA, 6-week program at $35 per adult.
So moved.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, is there any chance that did you involve any of the seniors, or did you talk to any of the people over there at the senior center?
I don't understand the question. Sorry.
So the question is, did we bother to try and reach out to the seniors, because they really used to love the swimming?
Well, it's a senior program, yeah, and we filled it. And I coordinated with social services to get the word out. I emailed the social services email list. Everybody in the program's like 75 or older, so I think we reached them pretty well.
Okay.
Great job.
Cool. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, great. So we'll do another session of that starting in January. Okay, and Youth Winter Learn to Swim.
Yep, same thing. Just that was really successful. We filled that completely as well. We have 34 participants. We're going to try to add more for winter. Mo and I today were talking about kind of a new format for taking signups, so we should be able to get more like 40, potentially even 50 spaces. Yeah, we just like to run that again for January into February. Dates obviously to be determined. Got to wait to hear back from the school, but it'd be a Saturday morning program. Be open to kids 4 and older. And let me just double check the cost on that. Give me 1 second. And that would be at a cost of $120 per participant.
And is that also a 6 weeks course, Jared?
Yep, 6 weeks.
And Jared, I'll ask the same question. Is this like how many people will we need to run this program?
Well, we need a lifeguard, and for that one, because there's a lot of shifting, people coming in for one class, leaving from another class. It's usually good to have one person on the floor, just kind of managing the traffic, making sure people are following the procedures and policies. It's a little more in depth than the senior program, because that's just the seniors come at a time, they get in the pool, then they leave. As you know, there's a lot of coming and going for the learn to swim. So it's good to have someone on the floor kind of managing things.
And I've observed that, you've had a couple of people there over the course of the session that's currently, or maybe it ended, but the last session.
Oh,
Are
no, it's still
they
going. Yeah,
available? Are they
You're in
available?
it. You still got 3 weeks
I know, I
left,
was like,
Abigail.
I
I don't want you to
can't.
miss out on those.
I don't know, space-time continuum. Where am I? But so grateful for programs. I can't even tell you, especially this one. Are those 2 individuals open to still supporting
Yeah,
the
so I've
program
been
next
speaking
year?
with everybody, and the only person that's going to be leaving is Chris Heller, who ran the camp 2 years ago and has been assisting, because he also he got hired where I got hired as well. But everybody else will be staying, and they're all basically have the same availability that they've had. So once again, my goal will be, like, I have a whole staff schedule that I do, and my goal will be to more or less have it set up through January into February. Obviously, things can change when you're scheduling people 3 months out, especially kids, but at least whoever can come in will be able to look at that and be like, okay, I have Shane this morning. Let me double check, make sure he's good, or whoever.
That's great.
Jared, on that same topic, do we have, you said, Chris, I forget his last name that you mentioned, that's leaving together with you. Do we have Hella? Do we have somebody to replace him, somebody lined up to replace him, or is that something we're going to need to fill, or it can stay?
He's just been kind of acting in the role where he assists basically like everybody else we have does. So ultimately you'll need to get some more people on, especially as camp approaches, but it's not pressing, no.
Okay.
Especially with the winter coming. He's been helping out a lot, get the field stuff done and repaint the shed and all that stuff. But it's not like you're replacing a specific position. He was just one of the team of high school, college age kids that have been helping. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jared.
Of course.
Okay, can I get a motion to continue our Youth Winter Learn to Swim program again in January and February for 6 weeks, held on Saturdays, specific dates TBD, for children 4 and up, at a cost for the 6-week program $120?
So moved.
Thank you. Get a second?
Second.
Awesome. Any more discussion?
I just want to be sure that we also address Open Swim, since we're talking about the swim programs. I just see it's not here, and I know we tabled that a few meetings ago. So just want to make sure we add it into this discussion about program and events before we move on.
Since this is a special meeting, I don't think we can add it to this agenda specifically, but I'll get it added to the next agenda.
Great.
Thanks, Abigail. So all those in favor for the Youth Winter Learn to Swim?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, great. That will go on. Spring baseball. E.
Yeah, I figure it doesn't hurt to get this one going too if we take registrations during January, February, into early March. So that's something I can easily set up. It'll just be like all of our other programs, open to children. Basically, what we've been doing is through sixth grade, because after sixth grade, they can play on the school team. And basically anybody who wants to play will. So, I'd like to run the spring baseball program for children 3 years old through sixth grade at a cost of $40 per participant. And I think that's all the relevant info.
What were the ages again? I'm sorry.
3 years old through sixth grade.
How many teams is that? Or is it's more just a camp setup?
Well, we divided it into different age groups. We did our pre-K group, which is just like a clinic, our K-1 group, which is basically like a clinic with scrimmage games. And then the same thing for our second. We basically did second to fourth grade. They basically did a little clinic, then followed by coach pitch scrimmage games. And then for the oldest group, it was just skill development.
Got it. And how many coaches does that usually require? I know it depends on the signups and stuff, but
yeah, it really does depend on the signups. But I would say, the pre-K group, we ran that as a staff, and with Rob Kennedy volunteered. Then the K-1 group was run by parent volunteers. 2-3 was run by parent volunteers. And then the 4th through 6th grade group I ran last year, but that could also be run by volunteers. The only one that really needs staff to run it would be the pre-K group, because that's like a mommy and me type program.
Great. Does anyone else have any other questions for Jared about spring baseball? Okay. So can we get a motion for a spring baseball program for ages 3 years old through sixth grade, at a cost of $40 per baseball player?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, great. Spring baseball is a go. Okay, moving on to
I just like to real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say this because I think it's just so important, that honestly, how many people really watch these, but that everybody knows that, we're consistently at this point getting 60 to 75 kids in all of the major sports programs. So that would be your baseball, your basketball, your soccer, and then those smaller peripheral programs, like the swimming, like learn to skate, like tennis. Those programs are filling completely. So I think it's something that, once again, going back to like things we should be proud of, is that every program we're running, if it has a max, we're hitting the max. And if it doesn't, we're up, like I said, at 70 kids, which when you consider, I always kind of go back and compare what we're doing to, the town of Kent where I used to work. We served the Carmel Central School District, which is a population of about 40,000 people. And we'd get 300 kids for basketball. Here in Kent, we're serving a population of about 3,000 people, and we're getting 70 kids. So like the ratio is really unbelievable. We're getting such a high percentage of participation in the programs. Like I said, it's exceeding what we did in Kent. It certainly exceeds what I do over in Patterson as well. And not that we're doing poorly over there, but that just goes to show you how successful we've been here. When you have those kind of numbers in such a small community, I really think it's really kind of, you know, it's setting a new standard, certainly in Kent, but probably in the surrounding towns as well. So that's something to really be proud of, and certainly something we want to aim to keep going for the future, you know.
I second that.
Well said.
And it's also so imperative because it builds community amongst the residents of the town, which is what Park and Rec really is a lot about.
Absolutely.
Very
You know,
true.
you feel like you're a part of something. Like you come and you see it's this, you see the parents and the families and the kids, and you're like, it's you know, it's as much youth sport development as it is social and engagement, you know.
That's very true.
People think Kent, they think tennis. It's just that's how it goes. Maybe one day. But
What was that, Mike?
I said when people think Kent, they think tennis. It's just how it goes. But
Hey, we maxed out the program. It says something.
Yeah. But no, that's absolutely community and sports and recreation definitely go hand in hand. So moving on to number 9, tell us about these benches for the new playground that you're envisioning.
Yeah. So if you've been over to the new playground, you'll know that it is being heavily used, which is fantastic. Every day I drive down Route 7 to go home, and every day I turn and I look left, and there are tons of people, and the parking lot is full, which is why I feel so strongly about not giving up too much land, because we need more parking. Just wanted to plug that in there, much to affordable housing chagrin, I'm sure. But there needs to be more seating. We're still waiting on that picnic bench, which for some reason is back ordered. I don't understand. It's made of the same stuff the playground is, but it's still back ordered. But regardless, having a couple more benches in there would be great. They have 2 benches that match what we have in stock. They can come and install them when they install that last there's like one element that needs to be installed. If you guys have been over there, there's just a bunch of wood and caution tape, but it's going to be done. But they can install 2 more benches with backs for people to sit. It's $1,000 a bench installed. We have the money in the parks budget, and I think it's a no-brainer. So I wish I had an aerial photo I could put in here, but basically, if you're Mike, you know from being at tennis, but when you're walking along the path, the tennis court's on your left, the playground's on your right.
We could pull up a Google map if you want. Would that help?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's actually a good idea. But I think now that you say that, I might have the rendering I can just pull up. Sorry, I'm trying to reorganize all my files on my computer before I go, so it's a hot mess, but it'll be nice and organized. Give me 1 second. There we go. I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so you see, can everyone see the playground rendering?
Yep.
So I mean, this was like the most true to life digital rendering ever, because the playground literally looks exactly like this. But you see there's a little kid sitting, there's a lady in a red dress, it looks like, and there's a little kid sitting on a bench there. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not enough. So the goal, and I met with the playground guy, the goal would be to put 2 more benches evenly spaced out along the walkway right here. So one directly across from the swings, and then one directly across from this green slide on the big unit. And the big unit has some really intense climbers. So honestly, if there's a place that parents are more likely to need to sit and supervise, it's there. So I think having a bench there would be good. So
is there any discussion about having it more like the traditional park benches like we have in the park right now, as opposed to that bench that you see in the rendering?
I wouldn't get a traditional park bench and put it in the playground area just for the sake of continuity, but we could certainly get regular benches, yeah, and put them really anywhere, to be honest.
And when you say continuity, what is that?
I
What do
just
you
mean honestly, just aesthetics.
Okay. As a user of the park, I think that the ones with the backs make it a lot easier to stay for a long time.
Yeah, these two that he has in stock do have backs on them.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly I don't like the one without the back, but we could always in the future have them. And basically, the poster in the ground, you just have to swap out the top. So if in the future you guys want to get a bench with a back, it's as easy as just swapping that out.
Well, the ones we're discussing right now have backs or don't have backs?
They do have backs, yes.
Okay, because I thought I heard that. Okay, good.
Sorry, I missed that.
And the other three benches, I replaced on them all years ago, and they're made out of cedar, so they'll last forever.
Yeah, they're in good shape. They might need to be stained or something, but that's about it. Otherwise, they're in very good shape.
Yep. I replaced them all.
So is at this amount though, Jared, do we run into the need to shop around for these benches?
I mean, I could ask him if he could do them for $999 each, and then we wouldn't instead of 1,000. I'm sure he'd say okay to that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be flippant. I just
no. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that goes with the fact that it's kind of tacked on to a pre-existing order. It's kind of like a change order type thing. I don't know. Jean's on here. You can ask her. Jean, what do you think?
Sorry about that. I was having trouble getting off mute. Is it so? It's you said it's a change order. Can you?
It's not really change order. They're coming back to do more work on the playground. And we need more benches. It was basically just kind of an oversight when it was designed. There's not enough seating for the amount of activity that it's receiving. So he said they have two of the same benches we have in stock and can install them when they come to do the other work. And it would be $1,000 a bench installed. So 2,000 total. From the town's procurement policy, we are fine. But from the Park and Rec procurement policy, it says that we need to go get whatever, do an RFP or whatnot over $1,000, I believe. But how does that work with the fact that it's kind of an already pre-existing job? Is there any input you can provide?
I mean, you could ask him to sharpen his pencil and see what they come back with. It's it's a little bit of a sticky spot. One side with the Park and Rec separate procurement policy, but then also you're sort of finishing out an existing project and everything matches. I don't know. It's a little sticky.
Well, I mean, just, like I said, our procurement policy is 1,000 and over, and he's charging 1,000 per bench.
So it's actually 2,000.
Yeah, so it's actually 2,000. So, but then again, like we just installed an entire playground from one company, and we would want obviously the units to come from that same company.
Right, so it all matches.
Yeah, so I mean, what are we going to do? Go out to bid and then get benches that don't match what we're doing? I don't know. I mean, they may be the exact same benches. Who knows?
To hop on that, I think going with the same company and and having it finished instead of pushing this back just for $5 just to push this back, and we've already waited long enough for this. So I just think we're just at the end. Let's just bite the bullet, and I'm sure this is a whole long process. This has been waiting. We're just right to the end. I just think let's just get the benches and finish it off instead of going back to the table to shop around to look to save $200. I'm not getting the math there. Maybe I'm missing something.
I mean, it's a valid point, and I would say, just Jared, if you could work with them to get the benches under $1,000, $999. So then we at least have gotten them under 1,000. So we can know we did that. for the procurement situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, the commission should have some sort of motion in place.
How about we make a motion to spend no more than $999 per bench to purchase and have installed by Creative Recreation.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Is it the whole invoice? Is it $2,000 basically for 2 benches? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's $2,000 for 2 benches installed.
And the limit is what, 1,000, Gene? What is it?
$1,000 for our per our Parks Commission operation manual bylaws. Okay, well, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
So the limit is $1,000 in terms of the procurement policy, but we're trying to procure $2,000 worth of benches with a $1,000 limit.
Right.
Does anybody have the bylaws they can bring up? I'm trying to do.
I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Oh, you love the bylaws, I know.
Okay, so section 3, article 3 expenditures, section 3, all expenditures exceeding $1,000 for any single purchase shall be determined by competitive bidding.
So can we
if I
separate
buy one
it
bench this week and one bench next week?
2 purchases.
Yeah, that will get around it.
Not that we're looking to get around it, because we value. So when we did do the recommendation for the rewrite of the bylaws, we wanted to increase this number, this figure, so there was a little bit more wiggle room. But I think for the sake of moving the park forward and getting it completed, separating it into 2 separate invoices so we can finish the project seems like it would be a reasonable approach.
Who made this motion?
Abigail.
Abigail, do you want to withdraw the motion?
I will withdraw the motion.
Okay. So I guess now we're talking about, do we need, well, I guess I should have maybe asked this earlier, but would 1 bench, is 2 versus 1 important, Jared, in your opinion?
I think we have the money, and I think the playground is a real hit, and I think giving people places to sit, honestly, is great. And let's face it, it's a bench. It's not like you're going to be crowding a ton of people on there. So I think getting the 2 makes the most sense. But it's it's up to you guys. I mean,
what if we went with 1 bench now and then we just kind of double check and make sure that we're not upsetting some apple cart by trying to do another bench late 2 days from now or a week from now, and we could
sounds perfect. And I don't think you guys need to approve purchasing the bench. I mean, it's under $1,000. So if you want, I will call him, tell him we're going to take 1 bench, and I will do some homework and decide if we need a second bench. Make a decision.
So long as it's under 909. Yeah. So long as it's under $1,000. Seems like you can use your discretion.
Question. So that's going to make it how many benches when you add that additional bench? How many benches are we going to have in the park? Because I'm there every day.
So on the playground itself,
Mm-hmm.
there will be, with the additional bench, there'll be 2. Plus there are those 3 wooden ones that John just referenced around in the playground vicinity.
Okay. Thank you.
And maybe by the time of the next meeting, if we feel like we need to do a competitive bid for the last bench.
But we won't need to.
3 weeks from now, we can get another bench.
But ideally, we can get it under 1,000 from this group, because we're working with them already.
Right. That makes sense. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right. So I think we're good. I'm gonna tell them we're gonna order a bench, and then I'll figure out the rest.
Thank you, Jared.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Jared. Okay. 10A capital plan submission. So Jared, you wanted to get that the park background off, and
Is it still up there?
yeah, if you want to replace it with the capital worksheet, if you have it, or if it's easier for me to share my screen.
You have it up right now?
I have it amongst my million tabs somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem right now too. I have so many things up. If you could get it easier than I could, that would be great.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. I have it on anybody could share their screen.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Mike, as previously let you know, I let you know I've got to drop off the call, but thank you guys. I'm sorry that it's now, but I can't change what I've got to do now. So sorry about that. I'll see you
Thanks,
guys next
bud.
time. Bye.
Life, it's been a pleasure. Take care and be
Jared.
well.
Absolutely, you too.
Thank you.
Take care.
And for you all, I sent over the narrative that we use to complement what we have here in the 5-year in case, just to refresh our memory. Because we put a lot of thought into it and just our rationale. Because I know, this also ties into the ARPA money, and some of this is partially funded by the ARPA money. So just thought it would be good to have that context.
Yeah, that was really helpful, and also it's the detail is impressive to make it daunting, but it's super important. So thanks, Abigail.
I feel like that was a big difference when we had Jared to support us with pulling this together. We were able to get such a great write up.
Yeah,
Because I was on the hook for doing it when we didn't have Jared, and
yeah,
it wasn't as thorough.
So I'm sure everyone's at least had a chance to glance. And is my screen showing?
Yeah.
Okay. So the the items that were added, trying to find. So we have, we definitely have an attractive, I guess you'd say, list of projects. And I guess if anyone wants to mention either, a new project, or I guess a reoccurring item that should be addressed, I'd love to start the discussion.
Yeah, just quick, Mike. The drain for Kent Commons, that was pushed off till 2027. Is that correct? Next one down, Kent Commons.
Per the funding sheet, yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't include the ARPA funding, which is also for drainage. So that 25 or what looks like 50,000 says paving. I mean, I don't even know if we'd be allowed to pave that lot because of how close it is to the wetland. So I'm not 100% sure what the initial plan was for that when it was put in. But we will have the drainage done through the ARPA funding. So therefore that 50,000 that's in there would really just go for drainage. I mean, for paving, but going through this debate and planning with affordable housing, it seems like there's a distinct possibility we wouldn't be able to pave that lot because of the fact that it's literally borders a wetland or a water course, whatever it's called. So to answer your question, John, I'm not 100% sure what that 50,000 would actually end up going for, but that was put in.
So we still have the ARPA $40,000.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's bring up the An ARPA grant in the amount of $40,000 was recommended to and ratified by the Board of Selectmen for upgrades at Kent Commons Park, including remediation of the drainage problem and for the purchase and installation of a series of outdoor exercise stations in the park. This funding is not reflected in the capital planning worksheet and has not been spent.
And the total was $40,000. Okay.
Yeah, which, speaking with number of contractors, it will not cost 40,000. It'll cost less than that. The only thing I'd like to note, Mike, is we have $20,000 here for the tennis court. For 2025. Now, you were on the court this year, and I had Rick look at it, and I had two contractors look at it. One who did the playground. They also have a tennis court arm, and a different company. And everyone, including Rick, agreed that there's something wrong with the surface, whether it was done incorrectly, whether someone tried to power wash it and it started chipping. No one's really sure, but there's a lot of places where it's right down to the concrete underneath. And the concern with that is that as water continues to get under there, freeze, expand, more and more that's going to chip off, and we're going to get past the point where it can be resurfaced, and it's going to need to be completely scraped off and then resurfaced, which is a $30,000 to $50,000 project. Right now we can get it resurfaced, basically repainted, but it's a special type of paint. But even just to do that, to repaint the entire court, is probably going to be more than that 20,000, and the 20,000 doesn't come due till 2025. So I know I'm just throwing out a bunch of random facts, but it's just something to kind of think about. We probably could get away with waiting until 2025, because at the end of the day, that's only about a year and a half. And from the people I spoke with, it sounds like we could probably make it that long, but the 20,000 won't be enough to do it at that point in time. It's going to be more than that. So it's just something to think about. I mean, really, it's 21,000 is what we have if you look at it, 20,975. But something to just keep in mind, that that's going to have to be a priority as soon as we get that money. And when we request, what are we in? We're in the 2024 fiscal year right now. So we're planning for the 2025 fiscal year, correct?
Right.
So we're going to need to request some kind of allowance in our operating budget that's going to be able to make it so that we can get this tennis court done in fiscal year 2025. And I can bring up the quote that I have, and I'm pretty sure it was something like 29,000. So we're going to need to find a way to get 10 grand more in there, 8 grand more.
Well, is it within the cone of possibility with the paving and draining that we have for Kent Commons, since that's going to be covered with the ARPA grant, be able to reallocate some of that money to the tennis court?
That would be a question for Barbara. I know there's a lot of
legalities to it.
Yeah, with the ARPA funding and how it was awarded by the ARPA committee and whatnot.
No. I'm not asking to reallocate the ARPA money. The ARPA money has to go to paving and draining. But we have $50,000 for paving and draining coming up in the capital plan. And if the ARPA funding is covering that, can we reallocate what we have asked for paving and draining in the capital plan to cover the tennis court?
The problem with that is that doesn't come due till 2027. And I think waiting those additional 2 years could prove totally detrimental. And once again, I'll be the first to admit, I don't really know a lot about tennis courts. At my old park, we just had a blacktop tennis court that our highway department did. So I'm not used to this specialized surfacing, but like I said, the 3 people I spoke to all were like, this is going to be a problem in the near future. So I don't know if we can wait until 2027.
Like we should put a resurfacing in the green shaded area. because this is like an every 5 year type maintenance based on, or 5 to 10, but I didn't mean to cut you off there, Jared, but
no, honestly, we're just spitballing. It's a problem that I don't think anybody really anticipated. So, we're grasping at straws. So, it's all good.
So we're going to need the research. We obviously have the short-term needs, but for the purpose of this submission for the future planning, if we resurface in 2025, then should we put in 2031 funds for resurfacing? And if it's currently at 30,000.
I just looked. He said, I just looked at the email. So it'd be 27,000, because first they'd have to clean it, because you can't paint over the court in the condition it's in, because the paint won't adhere because there's too much mold. So with the cleaning, repair work, and repainting, it would be 27,000 today.
Okay. So, and I can do the math on some inflation number, but just round numbers, like 40,000 in 2031.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it hurts, because honestly, by 2031, we'll probably have to replace, we may have to replace other hardware and potential fencing around the court as well. So I think 40,000 gives us a little leeway that if there's, we need to get some new benches in there, or we need to replace the net posts or hardware, that I think the 40,000 would give us that leeway.
Okay. Does anyone else have any thoughts, positive, negative, for including the 40,000 for the tennis courts in fiscal year 2031?
No, I think that's a good figure. That inflation, everything else that goes with it. So yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So what I would say, Mike, is for the operating budget for the upcoming year, I might try to make some kind of a case to get a little more money in our parks line, specifically to cover the gap between what is coming due for the tennis court in the capital plan versus what it's going to cost to do it. So like I said, it's 27,000 today. Maybe in a year and a half, it's 29,000. So maybe, or a year, I should say. So maybe we need an extra $8,000 in the operating budget for parks in order to accomplish that goal. So just something to think about, because I don't think I'll be around for the operating budget discussion. So
okay. So I guess we continue on this, just looking at the existing projects to see if any have so paving and drainage we talked about. We feel comfortable with the money we have between this and ARPA being more than enough at Emery Park, correct?
What was that, Mike?
ARPA's only, per the email, ARPA is specifically for Kent Commons when it comes to remediation and drainage.
Oh, sorry, missed that detail.
Why we're all together doing this.
Yeah. So this is right. So Emery Park, paving and drainage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know what $25,000 was initially planned for, and I also don't know why there's a gap, why there's 25,000 in 2027, then another 25 in 2029. But until there's a plan for Emery Park, knowing if those figures are accurate is basically like, throwing darts. I mean, and there's also a limited amount of what you can really do with the drainage at Emery Park, given the underground springs that are there too. So it's just really hard to say if those numbers are accurate, and you just can't without a plan. So I think it just kind of got to stay in place, and hopefully over the next year, a good plan will be determined.
Okay. The trails is something that was included in our narrative for last year. Playground we just installed is, what the useful life of that is, taking us past the 2034, correct? So there's nothing
That's a which one? What are you talking about? That's Emery Park playground.
I'm sorry, I keep making those mistakes. Yeah.
That's stuff that's carried over. We've got a lot of money that's being carried over that we can't spend. Well, we're choosing not to spend
Right.
because we want to have plans for both parks.
Right.
And that's why we really worked hard to try to get a master plan going. But we've kicked the master plan budget to 2027. And I would advocate that that needs to be done as soon as possible now that Kent Commons, a site adjacent to Kent Commons, is being looked at for affordable housing. Because it would make real sense to have a plan for Kent Common in terms of what we vision taking place there, splash park, basketball court, where all these things go, would inform, what can be done next to it, the parking lot. So, I obviously I've been advocating for a plan since I joined the commission. And I don't know if there's any way of using any of the money that we have sitting here, the 250,000 for Emery, to actually do a plan for the two parks. Because if you don't plan and you just put stuff down, then that doesn't always make sense. And when you're doing hard infrastructure, it's really important to plan.
After 10 years, me going back and forth, we finally got somebody to do a plot plan of commons. So the territory, there was never a map for it. We looked everywhere, could never find it. And then they finally decided, because of the Kent housing, we're going to get a surveyor come in and do the parks as well. So it'll be great. Finally, after 10 years.
To have a survey.
After 10 years, it's ridiculous.
John, I know you've been advocating for giving real thought to the two parks. So I think we need to bring somebody in to work with us to do it. I don't know if this commission is going to be drawing a plan.
No, I'm not saying that we draw a plan. I'm just saying it takes forever to get something done.
Yeah.
So is there, do we have somebody that we can bring on board to draw up this plan? And is it something that we should be looking into? Because, I know, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved. It's I know it's one of the reasons too. And I keep saying, if we want to have families move into town, these are the things that we need to start putting in place and start talking about, because money is flying out the window because I've said several times, I've had people who wanted to come to town, and because we don't have these things, we're losing money. They're leaving, they're going elsewhere. It's one of the things I was even considering. I'm like, okay, we didn't have that. And now, we have the playground. It's so nice because, before we would have to stay back in the park, and their parents who would leave to go home because they don't want to stay on the school ground. But now everybody's going over to the new park. So, for young families, having people move into town, money wise, it's definitely something I think we should bring somebody in, get a plan together, and get this moving.
So we have $25,000 in the capital plan for FY27 to put together a master plan for the two parks. Whether you want to call it a master plan, you want to call it a plan, whatever kind of plan you want to call it, that's where our funding is. And we did put together an RFP for this master plan that was finished in 2019. We wrote that RFP. I know Blythe and John, you were part of that process. So we now have $100,000 from ARPA to invest into a splash pad for for Kent Commons. So we have that money. We have 250 in the capital sitting there, waiting to repair the pool at Emery, perhaps to invest into a new playground at Emery. There's a lot of money now we got about $350,000 waiting to be spent without a plan, because the planning can't happen because we intentionally pushed it to 2027. And how can we get access to be able to actually do a plan in 2024? I don't know, can we move any of this? Can we reallocate? I think we talked about this last year.
I think a strong case can be made to reallocate it. You know, I know there's like this like, oh, it was set aside for something specific, and unless you're using it for that very specific thing, you can't do it. But you know, I said this in a conversation with Gene once, you know, just because an idea is good 6 years before it comes due in the capital plan doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good when 6 years comes through. And so I think there needs to be some flexibility. And in my understanding with the Board of Finance is that there is some flexibility, just not everyone, you know, it seems like it's taboo to ask, but I don't think it really is, to say, listen, we have 100,000 for a playground. We have 150,000 for this. We got a grant for that. We can't move forward without a plan. So we need to take a chunk of this money and come up with a plan, or it's all going to sit here, never getting spent. And that's honestly the worst thing that can be done. And I think the Board of Finance would be okay with that. So if there's a unanimous feeling that, or a majority feeling that, you know, the master plan needs to be done, then go to the Board of Finance and say, listen, we need to go get RFPs. We're going to tell you exactly how much it's going to cost to do a master plan. We'd like to take that amount of money out of the playground for Emery Park, because I don't think that's a huge necessity given that we just got a brand new playground. So my guess is they'd be okay with that, as long as a halfway decent proposal was sent to them, you know, as to why it was necessary.
I agree.
Yeah, let alone mention $100,000 in 2029 for a basketball court in Emery Park. You know, we have to like figure out where these things are going. Do we want to get toilets into Emery Park? I just think we need to get a complete picture. I mean, sorry, I'm saying Emery. Michael, I drank your Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You all know what I mean, but for Kent Commons.
So going forward, do we get, you know, I know I'm new to this. I'm just trying to, you know, figure out what's happening. Is there somebody we can bring in to help us make a master plan, or is it something that we as a board have to sit down and say, you know, and figure out a master plan? Because it's, you know, all ideas and we're doing nothing, and time is going by and, you know, still nothing. Like, I would like to see things done. It's like, it's, to be honest with you, in the last year, Jared, thank you so much. It's been amazing. I know, like, everybody's talking. Let me tell you, you can't even buy a house in Kent now. Nobody, it's a joke. You can't even move. So I'd like to keep it that way. I'd like to keep the programs we have running.
Boy.
So what can we do? That's what
I think Jared had talked about, you know, we need to get an engineer in to look at the pool. Like, when we originally had the idea of doing the master plan, we wanted to bring in a landscape architect or a planner of some capacity, or a civil engineer. Probably not the best idea to bring a civil engineer in, but a landscape architect and a civil engineer to lead us, this commission, through a master planning process, lead this town through a master planning process, get input from the town, and then draw up plans for both parks and what's the best use. And so we had written the RFP that shared the vision of a committee that wasn't just this commission, but it had members of the public on it, the vision for the two parks, and said, you know, the rationale behind it. And we need to validate that with the town, but that was the way to move forward with planning. But we need to bring in a consultant, an expert, to lead us through the process and develop the plan.
Wasn't the survey though part of it though? Abigail,
Yep.
didn't we need the survey, because a parks planner is going to need the survey before they're going to be able to say what we can and can't do. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So we needed the topographic survey, and I'm just being specific because we also talk about surveying the community to understand the needs.
Yeah. No, yeah. The topographical survey to know what we can and can't do. And so I think that was our first step. And then we were going to bring, as I recall.
Yeah, and I think at one point we were trying to get funds for the survey, but according to John, we have the survey now. Yes, John?
Yeah, we're just waiting for Gary Hawk to come out and do it. So
that'll be a great start.
Yes, it is. It's 10 years in the waiting, but it's. I mean, even that replacement over at the Commons place there with the drainage for that new tunnel under there was it took 4 years to get that done. So.
All right, so can we light a fire under Gary Hawk?
I was just about to ask that.
No, he's over. He's got too much right now, and he's working his way through all the stuff that he has to do. He said so.
It would be great if we could get it within the next 6 months. Is that within the
Harry,
code?
the only person, or is there somebody else beside him that can do that?
Well, he's going to be doing the whole thing for the Kent Commons. So.
And he's the only person.
He's about the best in the state, so that I know of. So.
I believe he's already been contracted to do the work. So
right, there you go.
It's not like that hasn't been done. So he's it's on his docket. I know he's extremely busy.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that would make moving forward with a master plan a lot easier for whoever we brought in to do it with us.
Well, maybe somebody would be willing to take a look without a survey and just come up with some general ideas that could be contingent on a survey that at least we could bring, to the town. So at least that we could show progress in terms of a vision. Jared, didn't you have some people that you recommended to do this work for us?
I don't think so. No.
The planning part. No. Okay.
No, I mean, honestly, I would still recommend talking to Miranda.
We had approved.
I think Miranda's great and incredibly bright, and I know obviously she's not working for the town of Kent anymore, but certainly someone whose mind you could pick. I mean, Abigail's good friends with her, so she could speak to it more than me, but I've only had great experiences with Miranda and think that she's, certainly an expert in that field.
So when we originally had the RFP, we did solicit bids and we reviewed bids and we chose a team. And the team actually was a landscape architecture firm that Miranda at that time was employed by. She no longer works there, and that bid, that bid was, 5 years old. But that's how far we had gotten, is we actually had put an RFP out. We did have a firm to work with. We just didn't have the money.
Okay.
And so, I think that Miranda will be a great expert for us.
Well, let's ask her. I mean, I feel like the best thing to do would be to have that same. I mean, if they already know the situation. In terms of just logistics, it makes sense the people that have already done work for us to come back and continue that work, and rather than bring on someone new. So maybe we should just contact them and get the conversation going again.
Yeah, maybe even Miranda could be an advisor to us as we, try to figure out who we would want, if we want to put a short list together of firms to work with. If we want to reach out to the firm she used to work with again and see if they'd put together another bid for us.
I think that'd be a great idea. We need to get this moving, if we're talking and we're not moving on things, and then time go by and then we come back to the same set of conversations and nothing is being done. So I think, I don't know how it goes, if we have to have a next meeting, and bring on board, to do some form of consulting or something, so that we're progressing and not we're having the same conversations over and over and nothing is being done. So, if we can start putting together a team and have a plan, we can get things done. I'd like to see that. Anything is better than nothing.
Yeah, I think it would also behoove us to have the money in place to move forward, so we don't end up in the same situation where we had a lot of momentum, but we had no money.
So how can we get the money?
I think we have to go to Board of Finance and ask if they can reallocate the playground and some money from the playground for Emery Park.
Yeah, I see that arrow. We just have to move that $25,000 over to now. We just have to take that and move it.
And I would
closer.
like to believe that we could get it for 25K, but I don't think we should hold our breath that we're going to get a plan for 25K.
Oh, you're
I think we should-
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But at
I
least
would agree. I don't think there's any way that
yeah, no, I agree. But at least we can start there. We can start and say we need to have this money sooner than FY27. And additionally,
does anybody have any idea on when we can do this? Because I know I'm new and I'm probably asking questions that everybody's asked before, but I like to be clear on, I like specifics. So when can we have that meeting with the Board of Finance and ask about that? Who does it? Who's in charge of doing that? Like when?
I don't know the answer to your question, so I'm not going to answer.
Mike,
go ahead, Jean.
I don't know if you were going to refer to the document that the Board of Finance recently published on the capital plan. They laid out. Sorry.
I don't know if I. Okay. Yep. So that's.
It's called Guidelines for the Town of Kent Capital Plan Fund.
Okay, so that's what's on my screen now, and that was Naomi. That's in the email I sent. That included the attachment of the worksheet.
Yeah, so right there on that first page, if you zoom in on the process for boards, departments, municipal agencies, commissions, that last paragraph, the third paragraph there, I think there's your answer or guidance on how to proceed.
Okay.
So it says approved capital projects may be altered in scope only as requested by the stakeholder and recommended by the Board of Selectmen, but may not be transferred, altered, or exchanged for any other type of project under the I'm going to mispronounce this, aegis of the stakeholder without taxpayer approval.
By golly, I wish we had tried to push the master plan as far away as we possibly could. We put it in the capital plan. So we could have that money next year. So we would have to go to it would have to go to a vote to be able to reallocate the money from Emery Park Playground to go towards a master plan.
Yeah, it looks like you'd have to go to the Board of Selectmen and have that conversation with them. But yes, eventually it would have to go back to the taxpayers.
So that's so I guess the next step, Naomi, would be a some sort of motion to put a proposal in front of the Board of Selectmen. So if we want to add that to, that's something that we want to add to the next meeting agenda. I guess that would be the concrete next step would be to formalize a request to the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, well, that would be great if we can do that. At least we can get something.
I'm gonna have to go, guys, pretty soon. We have another meeting in a week and a half. So can we I gotta go, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. But maybe before the next meeting, we could write up a proposal for the Board of Finance. I mean, sort of for the Board of Selectmen, and then go from there.
Sure. Yeah, no, that sounds good. So this funding worksheet is due at the end of the week, so we'll still have a quorum with maybe Abigail, John, and myself if Kate has to jump off, but maybe we should just accelerate this specifically. Kate, thanks for
Yeah, 8:30. I can stay for
stopping in.
till 8:30.
Okay, well, so all right, so moving through here, you know, tennis, we talked about a recurring thing. You know, it sounds like, or it looks like the playing fields will probably need, you know, whatever we're envisioning 50,000 for in 2027. You know, putting that into the future would make sense to me. Does everyone
Yeah.
agree with that?
For sure.
Okay.
And I just like, I imagine we're not going to be doing the maintenance. I hope we can maintain the maintenance that Jared's been doing, but
Yeah.
you know,
So,
inevitably
Mike,
that's going to slip.
Sorry, Abigail, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, just I'm worried, Jared.
I know you made me so sad the other day when we were talking via text message. I was telling someone, I was like, I think Abigail's really worried.
Yeah.
Don't be. There's a lot of
I
good
know.
things in place here, and it sounds like we're having great conversations. And you know, hopefully, we get somebody good in here who can keep it going. Someone even better, you know. But just to go, this 50,000 here for the playing fields. I'm just going to call them field 1, 2, and 3. The first field is in great condition. The dugouts are structurally sound. The issue with that field is that backstop 100% absolutely needs to be replaced. And that will take up all of that $50,000. But fortunately, the other fields are in decent condition, and any work that needs to be done to them can be an operating expense, even a small backstop. But that big, large backstop is going to have to be replaced. It's going to have to be replanned because it doesn't protect the playground from balls going onto the playground. So I just want to point out, like 100%, that 50,000 needs to be put into that backstop. I see it out there for 2032. I probably missed this first part of the conversation. I don't know if it's necessary to have 50,000 in there for 2032. But like Abigail said, I think it will really depend on how much maintenance is continued. If you continue the maintenance the way it's going, those fields are going to stay in great shape. But obviously time will tell. But that 2027, got to do the backstop 100%. Sorry. I know you have to go, Kate. I just wanted to say thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, Jared, it's been a great pleasure.
Really enjoyed working with you, and definitely gonna miss it. But you know, I know you guys will keep it going.
We'll do our best.
Amen.
I'm not leaving. Not 5 more minutes.
Oh, okay. It's like one of those awkward things when you go to leave somewhere and you say goodbye to someone and then you're both walking in the same direction. You ever have that happen? No. Right? Abigail's laughing. You know what I'm talking about.
Many a times. You like ride a long elevator ride.
Yeah.
Like, oh, together. Or you end up taking the same subway.
Yeah. That's a very New York City thing right there. Very Brooklyn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, something probably will inevitably require funding for the playing field. So, you know, I have the 50,000 in 2032. If anybody feels strongly one way or the other,
I think it's reasonable to put it there. I think it's like the right approach to just try to, you know, if we put a splash pad in 2029, I would assume we're probably going to have to do some maintenance on that splash pad. By 2034, I think we're going to want to do some maintenance on the current playground we just installed. You know, it may need a new surfacing underneath it. We probably, you know, there's like the way the surface and the gravel walkway meet. We might want to look at that at some point in 2030. So, you know, we may want to add a line.
okay.
I know that's, you know, a lot to try to navigate here. I've tried to do this same thing you're doing. But maybe we want to add the Kent Common Playground and probably the playing surface is something we want to keep maintaining. Obviously,
what would that be, like a
I think like
closer
2030, you might, what are we in 2024? We might want to look at that again at 2030 and just, maybe by that point we'll want to put a rubber surface in. Or, yeah. And, the walkway, that little path that goes around Kent Common, that, we may want to resurface that, or depending on the plan for the parks, we might want to change that. So that's the, what do we call that? The walking, isn't it called like the walking path?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you can call
I
it the
don't
walk.
know. Do we want to mention anything about parking, the parking lot? Once if we're putting in the basketball in 2029, I think that's going to impact the parking. So, I don't know if we're going to have to increase the parking.
The one thing I will say,
Mm-hmm.
Because I never say anything. All I do is talk. Geez. The one thing I will say about this though, anything in the green is not it's not actually going to go into the capital plan. It's basically simply for our own edification. I mean, more or less. The only thing that the Board of Finance cares about is what's in that black box. So if you guys feel, hey, we're going to start working on this master plan, et cetera, you may be able to fill in this green stuff in 3/4 of a year or in a year more accurately than we are right now. So I just want to let you guys know, like, what those numbers you're putting in here Gene, you could kind of back me up with this, for lack of a better phrase, like, they don't really matter to the Board of Finance, right?
Yeah, they're way high up in the helicopter. Those are sort of almost like a place marker.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see them because they're looking at, all of it, but what they're focusing on for funding and for and also what the Board of Selectmen is going to be focusing on is in that black box, because those are the items that I'm looking at 2027 and 2029. You've got 4 projects in each one of those, and from the Board of Selectmen perspective, that may be somewhere that they may have to bump some of that out. So, and I'm just thinking out loud here with you all. Rather than, so right now you've got those 4 buckets in 2027, maybe it makes sense to move that one over, exactly, over to 2028, because then you're spreading it out a little bit better. And another thing that, as a board member, we often would think about is splitting big projects. So as a peace offering or as a way to help the Board of Selectmen do this work that they're going to have to do anyway, maybe you take the basketball and the splash pad, which are 2 big ticket items. So again, you've got 4 big projects stacked up there. Maybe you split those 2 projects out half and half, 29 and 30, because then you're spreading out that those funding needs.
But do we really want to take anything that we have put in that 5-year in that black box and move stuff out if it's in the black box as it is? Because this all was, reviewed and approved already.
Right, but it will get reviewed again and things could move. If there are, looking at the larger picture, adding in DPW, adding in fire department, adding in, you know, a lot of other municipal building projects. I haven't looked at the capital plan in a month or two, so I don't remember all of everything that's in 2029. But once you start seeing, you know, a lot of projects, the Board of Selectmen, you can either, you know, look at moving things around, or the Board of Selectmen will need to move, you know, look at moving things around.
I'm gonna agree with Abigail, and I kind of fought this fight much to some of the other department heads' chagrin. But I think we got to fight for the things that we want, and if the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance decide that they're gonna push them out, fine, so be it. But I don't think we should lay up. I think we should go in. Not we. I mean, I'm not going to be there, but I think you go in hard and say, listen, we need these things. We need them as soon as possible. And if ultimately the powers that be say, sorry, you're not going to get it, fine. But I'm going to, and Gene, I've said this to you before. As a person who's passionate about Parks and Rec, I don't ever think that we should be the ones to say, oh, we'll wait, because we don't want to wait. We've already waited too long. To Naomi's point, the parks, the infrastructure, it's been a mess for far too long for us to volunteer to push it out.
I totally get that. I am always a big proponent of always ask for the pony.
Yeah, that's it. What do they say? Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. I don't know.
But in that rationale of moving things around, can we move things around that are in the black box? Can we move the master plan from 27 to 25?
I was just
like,
because I'm like the basketball, can we move it from 29 to 28? And then that way it'll be 125, and then the numbers will break up. Can we move things?
Get rid of paving and drainage, 25 of that paving and drainage, because we've got 40 sitting in ARPA.
Well, I think it goes back to that
40 from ARPA isn't for Emory, right?
It's for Kent Commons. And we've got 25. We're making a request for 25. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my screens now. We've got paving and draining both in FY27 and FY28 for Kent Commons.
Oh, okay.
So 50 grand coming in, in a few years, but we already have 40 grand sitting there with ARPA. So I just wonder if we need that 50 grand for paving and drainage. Could we move some of the other things up a little sooner? Yeah, and I'm perplexed, Mike, because then I think about this document. So what are we doing right now?
I thought we were only doing the green stuff. And then anything in here was essentially
in stone. Yeah, I don't think you can accelerate stuff.
But the process for that is outside of what we're doing tonight. But I'm not saying we shouldn't continue talking about that. I just wanted to get this to Barbara on time.
Yeah.
But I do
just want to make sure we're doing the right thing, I guess.
So the things to go to Barbara on time would be the stuff in fiscal year 2030. That's insane to think about. 2030. Because that will be what they're basically trying to approve, right, Gene? So anything in that first green column.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so right now we have the new playground potentially needing a resurfacing.
Okay.
And so I hate that fatigue is motivating me right now, but how do we feel about this? We have, I was trying to think of new projects. I was thinking about disc golf, but I don't think disc golf would cost more than $20,000.
I love that idea of disc golf, and I think we got a great site at Emory.
Yeah.
So like the other thing for me, and I'm just going to throw it out there, like if we are going to demolish the Emery Park pool and like let that return back to nature, for instance, that's going to cost some money to, you know, not, do that. There's a big mound of earth that's holding up the pool. So, we're probably going to need some money in between FY 2030 and FY 2034 that's going to resolve whatever happens to the Emery Park pool infrastructure. Again, I don't know what the story is with a pool, if we're ever going to get a pool, but we will have to do something with that site.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we want to put in, I have no idea how much, but I would think it's probably, again, I actually don't even want to ballpark because I feel like that's irresponsible. But I would think we're going to have to put some money in to address whatever's left of the Emery Park pool if it is not going to remain a pool.
Well, I guess then that would potentially mean this 150 could be repurposed if that's, if the pool doesn't, if it doesn't get used for repair.
Yeah, I have a feeling it probably will be more than that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
But I think that like something, I don't know if we want to put some sort of line item down there in pink about, I don't know how you would word it, but we have to write a narrative that complements this too for her.
Yeah, I'm happy to do the narrative offline.
But I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to think of how you would word it.
And question, are we budgeting in like are we budgeting in, because I know we're bringing in a team to help with the master plan, does that also go into the budget? How are we paying the people that we're bringing in? Because I don't
The only money we have is the 25,000 in 27. That was, it was really I was pushed a lot on this back in the day because I really wanted us to actually be able to do a real plan. And that's all I was able to get into the capital budget. So that's all we have. And I think we had a lot of different rationales of where we could get additional money from the Board of Selectmen, and but that's all we have in our capital plan for planning. How about we call it pool remediation, Mike, for Emery Park as another line item, and like whatever that will be, we can, whether it's totally fixing the pool or it's demolishing the pool. I'd love for it to happen sooner than FY 2030, but I think we'd probably want it. We would want to be able to take action by 2030. And either, however we're remediating the pool, returning it to a pond, turning it into a bump course, returning it to a pool.
a dog park.
Yeah.
So,
And I would assume whatever that is where your arrow is, we'd probably be holding it, and maybe we'll have a solution before 2020, 30, but we'd probably fold that money in. Unless we can say, that 150 we have for repairing the full pool floor, we really need to put a plan together for what the future is
That's what I was just saying. We can't do anything unless we come up with a master plan. It's just like shooting, into the dark, and because just to break that whole thing, like I'm looking at the numbers from, because I know they just did the one with Millbrook and that cost over $1 million. So that 150, me looking at like the number doesn't make any sense. But again, we're still shooting blanks in the dark unless we have a master plan and we have some fixed numbers and we have a plan on what we're doing. It's like this is all a guessing game.
Yeah, and I think that Millbrook's.
So I guess just stick with, I mean, at least these, even though we're guessing somewhat, it's a logical, and not that it's not logical that the pool doesn't need some attention. It's just it's a bigger number, and it's an unknown fate that I don't feel that comfortable writing a narrative for it.
Is there any way we can, because I know which project, well, I don't know, I'm still stuck on the master plan. Like we can't do anything, we don't have a plan. And it's like, I'm stuck there. I haven't moved on beyond that one.
Well, welcome.
It's like building a house and we don't even know where the property is and how we're getting the money to do it. It's just kind of like, I'm building a house. How I'm building a house. That's what this sounds like to me. Sorry, I'm late in the game, but it comes back again. Like, I think, I know, Mike, you want to send this off during for the week, but I still think we need to have some form of meeting. And if we have to go to the selectmen and let them know, hey, we need to move some things around, or we need, some money but sitting on our hands and not trying and really fighting for this, because this is all of our future. And like I keep saying, the town falls apart, when we're ready, it will be worth nothing. Your house that we're sitting on and the town will be worth nothing. And if we want this to be worth something where, we're all happy that we bought into this like 1,000 years ago, we need to have a plan. Like you can't do anything without a plan. That's just my opinion.
But I think we have agreed that we want to put a formal request to the Board of Selectmen about moving some of the items in yellow, reallocating some of that so we can actually do a real plan and ideally do that in 24. But I think what gets scary is if we don't put stuff in this green and start preparing the budget to be able to absorb the money we put into the green, then we lose our chance at ever getting that. So that's why, I think it's actually two separate, kind of separate. And I just, Mike, I don't think we know what number we want to put in about the pool, but I think, and I don't know what, I know we're going to have to do there's going to be more fundraising than what we put in this capital budget spreadsheet to ever cover remediating the existing pool back, into a pond or whatever that thing becomes, or making an actual pool. Like that's going to be way more money than we're going to put in this capital spreadsheet. So, maybe we just don't even, we don't touch it. Like we just leave it as what you have. But I think we should try to prioritize the formal request once the new Board of Selectmen gather.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because we don't want to put even if we put 200 or 300 and then it comes in where it's like, okay, 500,000, then we're kicking rocks that we under budgeted because we just, so I think we should probably, sit on that and think about that. And in the meantime, try to see, look at what we have in the box and coming up. I know, I heard, the conversation about the tennis, and that is definitely something, because right now where I am, the tennis court, it's gone far beyond repair. We've let it go for too long, and now it's $100,000 to even touch it or break it in half. So I'm looking at some of the numbers here, and from what I've been doing here with my board and with my committee, the numbers here for me seem small, but I guess, that's what we're working with. So we need to really think about some of the things that we're putting. And I know we're trying to be, you know, I don't know if to call this frugal or however you guys gonna, but we definitely need, like, I see the trails and it, you know, so it's my mind, and I'm tired too. So
No,
yeah.
I think that maybe we want to add a little bit to the tennis. Like maybe we go up to 75.
I think
Because by the
right.
time we get to that tennis court's gonna need a total refresh. Like
the fencing could need
always
refresh. Yeah.
that's a long way away.
Yeah, always we're even thinking about, you know, even breaking it down in half, and it's like nobody, like different committees we've tried, and we're not getting anything under 100,000. And it's like, so this 40, I don't know what the 40 is going to do. It's like, even for them to come and break it in half or repaint, we're not even getting 50, and you guys have 40 here. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to find whoever you guys are using, because I haven't seen any of these numbers anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 27,000 was Jared's current bid for the resurfacing. So it was, if you know, since we're going to be doing some work to it in 2025. Yeah, so 75, which
75 is a little more practical.
Okay.
And then ideally, you know, in our ideal future, if we have a master plan, we can get cost estimates against what's in that plan. And then that can really inform us next year when we sit down to do this and put in capital requests.
Yep, because we'll know all what we need to do and what will be coming, you know, what. So I think we'll have like a better idea of, you know, because now we know, okay, this is what the basketball will cost, you know, what it is we will need for the basketball. So when we sit down to do this, we know we have our grocery list of all the items and the things that we need to put in place. So we're not just making fillers, we're making fillers that we really need. So when we go and we talk to them, you know, we know what we're talking about, and not we're making fillers and then, you know, we're caught when in, you know, like, okay, this is not what we need this down here, and we're trying to move things up, and then they send us back and we come back. So but you know, this is a good start. We yeah.
Mike, is it okay if I jump in for a second?
Absolutely.
Mostly it's to give you all kudos, because this is a great conversation, but keep in mind, just as a crazy thought, as the short timer, there's no reason that you have to wait till you get this request in front of you all to be talking about capital planning. You can be talking about capital planning 12 months out of the year. And then when you get to this moment, or even your October meeting, that's sort of the culmination of a year-long process and research, and you're parsing out and sharing out the work of the research for all these different projects that you're all having a great conversation about. It's going to take a long time to get all that research done, and there's no reason to wait until this time of year to start thinking about this. I think this conversation should always be on your agenda, and if some months there's nothing to talk about, then you move on. But it's always sort of that tickler or reminder to say capital planning is a really important thing. Capital planning takes a lot of our mental strength. And here you all are at, what time is it? I can't even tell. There's so much stuff open, almost 9 o'clock. That let's talk about it in March, or right after, you know, the budget goes to vote in May, and everybody's breathing this gigantic sigh of relief. So, but, you know, if it's always on your agenda, then, you know, you're always thinking about it. And I think these conversations can happen any time of the year, and it just gives you, you know, it prepares you better so that you're not, you know, feeling that sense of, you know, we have to have a special meeting, or, you know, that sort of white knuckle sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, this was reactionary.
And I get that it's a really tight timeline, but just food for thought, mostly.
Thank you, John.
Okay, well, I'm going to start unless anyone has any others to add, I'm going to start summing the columns here and then put a motion to accept
And I see the part here for 2030 Kent Commons Playground. What is this 25 for? What are we doing with this 25?
That's
that
for
was thinking that we would need to resurface the playing area by then of the new playground,
Okay.
or maybe replace it with a new type of surface.
Are we being generous with the 25?
it's again.
So
I've never
the
done a cost estimate.
minimum amount is 20,000 for any item.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So it can't, nothing in here can be less than 20. And it's a round number.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add. So I guess, I can handle writing the narrative and submitting it, but I'd like to make a motion to accept the, what's this titled, fiscal year 2025 capital planning sheet as shown on my shared screen, pending a narrative accompanying it.
Yeah, so move. Yeah, I second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, great. Motion carries. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Well, there's only 3 of us here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I know that's something's wrong with my view. Sorry. Sorry.
So it's, yeah,
I was like, oh
John
gosh.
here, Naomi, Abigail,
it, yeah.
myself.
Sorry.
Okay, so I spent some time today going back through our 10B director search process. I spent some time today going back through old meeting minutes and recordings from our last director search process from when Leslie resigned in March of 2021. And so what I came across is that the Board of Selectmen is the hiring body. So essentially we can't do anything without starting with the Board of Selectmen, which was, as of yesterday, transformed into its new makeup. So what we did last time was we had a director search subcommittee of 5.
Mike, can I just jump in here?
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Yes, cut me off, please.
The Board of Selectmen is still in place until the 20th, when
okay, thank you.
The 21st is when the new board members assume their role. They'll get sworn in a ceremony Friday evening, but under the statute, they take office technically the second Tuesday after the election. So under the hiring policy, let me go back over there. So the Town of Kent Employee Manual, the vacancies section is such that it's a little bit lacking, as is a lot of the employee manual. But it reads, the department head shall notify the Board of Selectmen in writing of a job vacancy. The Board of Selectmen shall determine if the town will fill a vacancy. The department head should post the job opening notice internally via email to all department heads on the Town of Kent website and in other such places as may deemed appropriate. And at our last Board of Selectmen meeting, I believe we added for a minimum of 2 weeks. So the obvious thing that this doesn't address is what happens when the vacancy is the department head, because that section addresses any reports to the department head, but doesn't speak to what happens if it's the department head. So I believe we'll be having one more Board of Selectmen meeting, which will be a sort of a transfer of care meeting with both the new and the old members. So we'll accept Jared's letter of resignation at that meeting, and then would likely have a conversation. So I think it would be a good idea for you all to continue your conversation of if you would like to have a hiring committee, and then make that recommendation to the Board of Selectmen at that last meeting.
Do you have the date of that in front of you, Jean?
My plan is to have it the 20th on my last day.
Don't we need a job description to
We
even
have,
go through all of this?
yeah, we have the
We have one
The
from
one
last, yeah,
from
we have-
Jared.
yeah,
Yeah,
so we
there's
have the one that the last subcommittee worked on, which I
Do we
believe
want to
was presented
revisit
and
that?
approved.
Do we
I'm
want
sorry?
to revisit it? Do we want to revisit it? I remember in that we had the directors, the secretary, and the meetings, and I don't know if we want to revisit.
Take that out.
I'm just saying, like, there were
Take
things
it out for the love of everything holy. The director should
wanted to
not. I don't have a
rethink
problem saying it now. The director should not
about
be the
this job.
secretary for the meetings. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just saying.
I
know
just don't want to lose another director. So if there's any way we can improve, we probably should. Hence, we should have an exit interview with you.
Yeah,
But I
I'd
think,
love to
Mike,
talk
that was
about all
something
that stuff for sure.
we talked about when we were doing the bylaws. Was the role of the secretary. So I don't know if we want to just replicate that job description, or if we want to take a minute to look at it. And can we put together the hiring subcommittee? Do we have to?
I would make a
recommendation
if you want to have the Board of Selectmen put together a hiring subcommittee. Elsewhere in the employee manual, there's also a section on job descriptions, and it reads that, I'm not going to read you the whole very, very long paragraph. I'll read you the salient part. Job descriptions shall be developed and or revised by the first selectman with input from any applicable boards or commissions and or the department heads. Where the first selectman deems it necessary, incumbent employees may be interviewed regarding job duties. In addition to defining responsibilities, the job description may include an appendix that sets out terms of employment. There's other details. So I would, again, if you all want to go through the job description, maybe, we can definitely send it out. And then you all can go through it and make those recommendations back to the Board of Selectmen or back to me, and then I can take it to the Board of Selectmen at that meeting on the 20th, or you can wait for the 21st and do it, when they have their first meeting of the new board. Just trying to lay out all the options.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about when we are soliciting for a new director, I would assume we want to have the most updated job description as part of that. Because I don't think we want to then have to rethink any of that.
Correct.
And so if we were thinking about order of operations, there's having the Board of Selectmen accept the resignation of Jared, having the Board of Selectmen deem we need to hire a new director. And then there's, I would think, getting a job description in place and then putting together a subcommittee, a hiring subcommittee. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make, I know that makes sense to us. Does that make sense to Board of Selectmen protocol?
Yes, those
Okay.
things can all be accomplished at the same meeting. If you wanted to, prior to that Board of Selectmen meeting, if you were able to have another special meeting next week and identify where you'd like the those tweaks in the job description, and come, with the recommendation, or have that recommendation to us, I would say probably by Friday of next week, so that the board has the weekend to look at it and make sure that it's done under track changes, so that it's, we can tell what you'd like to take out and leave in, etc. And then poll your commission on who would like to be on the hiring committee, and then make that recommendation too. I don't think there's no reason to, wait, do part of it now, part of it in another month, and then, no reason to protract it out if you're able to make all those decisions tonight and maybe at another special meeting.
So
Connecticut Park tonight.
So Connecticut Park and Recreation has some templates for hiring directors. So,
like job description templates, John?
Yep.
There was a lot of time and effort put into improving that job description, and I wouldn't recommend throwing that baby out with the bathwater.
I don't want to throw it out. I just want to, I know that when we went through the bylaws, there were some things that were written into the job description that we were wondering about, particularly the notion that the director is the secretary during meetings. So they're leading the meetings and they're also taking all the notes. And we had discussed that a lot, Mike, Blythe, Kate, and myself, about whether or not that was the best use of a director's time in a meeting. So, but it's written into the job description, so it was hard. It was going to take a lot to try to overcome that. So I was just trying to see if we can get out ahead of that with this next round. And if there's anything else we wanted to get out ahead of to enable the director to direct.
My question is, I'm not muted right now. My question is, can we get that straightened out and ironed in for at least by next week, as Jean suggested, or do we need more time to get that done?
We'll need another meeting definitely to get this if you're gonna, because I found what was sent as the job description from the last hiring committee, but I didn't find where it was approved by the Board of Selectmen last, so I just want to make sure that I have a date for that. But I can, as soon as I find that, I could send that to the commission, and then we would have to have a special meeting next week, so that we're making progress on that, and also timing it with the Board of Selectmen's meetings this month.
And Abigail,
that makes sense.
Sorry, Abigail, so I'm clear on, as I just heard you saying, correct me if I'm wrong. Currently we have it stated that the director is also the secretary. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There's a bullet point, takes and records the minutes of Park and Rec Commission meetings, files meeting agendas and minutes with town clerk. So that's what Abigail's referring to.
Okay, so we're gonna have that fixed, right? Because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's why I'm trying to make sure we don't just replicate the job description we used with Jared.
Okay, so
And I don't even like, yeah. Sorry, I'm growing. I'm
and definitely, even like with our boards, I'm on different boards to beside this board and the other board. Like, it doesn't make sense that the director is also the secretary. We should have a separate secretary from the director. That's just my,
yeah, that's typical protocol.
Okay, so is there going to be a problem having that removed? I don't get it.
Oh, Naomi, will there be a problem with removing
I don't know.
it?
Sorry,
Sure, there's going to be.
I'm new, so
we're just trying to be rational.
So going forward, because this is we're looking for somebody new to just start this and have this done the proper way. Going forward on how it should be done. Can we have somebody take care of that? And I'm sure we can go off the old template, but remove that and fix it and word it properly. For how it should be done. Is that, I don't understand. Is that going to be a problem?
I can't answer that really. I mean, it just sounds like we would need to send the Board of Selectmen what's the term? Kind of a redlined version of the last approved position with that and any other changes, and then I guess we would find out if it's a problem. But we'd also need to agree on that as a commission and probably decide who is going to take minutes.
Okay. Appoint a secretary. We'd have to go into the bylaws because we're going to have to add a secretary role to the organizing documents of our commission. We have a secretary.
Okay.
We don't have that in our Mike, we've.
So you could actually underthink that piece, and Mike. So there's a couple of ways to do it. And I just had this conversation with the Conservation Commission. You could, at the beginning of each meeting, Mike, you could appoint someone to take the minutes. You would hope that someone would raise their hand. Another way I've seen organizations do it, at the beginning of every year when they come up with their schedule of when their regular meetings are going to be, they also pass around that schedule, and everybody takes a month or 2 months or however many months and says, okay, I'll do the minutes in August, September, October. I'll do them in November. This person will do them in February. And Mike, you would have a template that is driven by Robert's rules because that's how you operate. And it's very simple. It's sharing that work among the commission so that no single person is burdened with it. So it's a couple of different ways that I've seen it done.
Okay, that's also a suggestion.
Sounds reasonable.
We're open to ideas. Anything that makes us flow.
Yeah, right. we want the director to be able to, come with information and ideally lead these meetings. And Jared ended up just having to watch the recording afterwards to then do the minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, and it's not like it was impossible to do. It's just it can't be understated enough. And I had this conversation with someone who came into the office the other day and was telling me how I didn't need another staff member volunteering information that I didn't ask them about. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, well, you don't need another staff member. Oh, well, you're going to be the secretary for the meeting. Oh, well, you're expected to develop the parks. You're expected to do the program. Something has to give. And that has been the problem with this position from the get-go, is that there was no and I'm not saying this about the commission, this has been going on for years and years and years, no foresight into the fact that you can't just keep saying the director, the director, the director. There's only 40 hours in the workday, and this is major stuff you're trying to accomplish. So like Abigail said, when I got to go and sit back and watch a 2-hour Zoom meeting and then do the minutes, it's, yeah, can I do it? Of course I can do it, but it's, when do you say enough already? And when is the director going to start focusing on higher level duties? Jean is saying how we should have been talking about capital planning all along. She's absolutely right. But when the director doesn't even have time to do anything besides just manage the day to day, you can't make that kind of progress. So I know I'm being, perhaps a little intense right now, but that needs to be the thing that is the most important thing. How can the director be allowed to be a director? And that is the only way you truly make and move forward. And so, yeah, the minutes is a simple thing, but someone else should be doing that 100%, So I just want you guys to hear it. My passion plea for whoever comes in, they need to be in a situation where they can truly be the director and have that time to take things to the next level. And doing things like minutes and whatnot, that it's a waste of time and it's a waste of salary. Honestly, should the director who's getting paid whatever it is, $35 an hour plus benefits, be sitting there taking meeting minutes and watching videos that they just participated in? Probably not. So that's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Naomi, but
No,
just
Jared,
my impassioned plea for the next person,
Jared, I see you, I hear you, and I would not want your job. How about that? I see you. I'm out there, I'm a mom first. I tell everybody all the time, I'm a mom first. Forget about anything else. I'm a mom first. And I see you every evening, being there after the games, with the games, doing everything. And I would not like to be you. So knowing this and adding this on top of all of what it is you're doing, I really wouldn't like to be you. So going forward, I would just like to know that, like you said, and keep it professional. The director is the director, not the director is the director, and we should treat it as such. So how we have to come together and put that in the wording, because 2 years, I didn't even know it was 2 years you were here. I really thought it was a year that went by super quick, and now I'm like really getting nervous knowing all of this. You will be missed. We've gotten a lot done, a lot done. Like, I know, because it's some of the things that I was asking for and able to see. I know how our website was running. I came from Millbrook side, and we had a Flimstone website, and you came and you fixed all of that. So my only worry is that you leave and we don't have somebody to either shadow and get things running if we have a big gap, because we are clowning around, pardon my words, and don't get somebody in to fill, to actually, hit the ground running, behind you.
We are not going to get somebody in here before Jared leaves.
So that's
Let's just accept that reality.
That's why I pushed my timeline out.
That's such an aspiration.
I pushed my timeline out to the end of December, but as December comes, I'm certainly open to talking about doing what needs to be done in whatever the interim is. I mean, as you guys know, I've worked a full-time and a part-time job for the past 2 years. So if you guys said like, hey, can you do a few hours a week to help us until we get somebody, I have no problem with that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully we can move and shake and make something happen. But
okay.
I won't leave you guys hanging. Don't worry. I care about this community too much. Yes, there were some things and some people who I didn't see eye to eye with and whatever else, but I do care about this, and I'm not going to just let it go. So
and the kids first. It's it's important for me.
Exactly.
I care about.
I've said my piece. I know it's already after 9, so thank you guys for letting me speak on that.
So, Mike, what do you want our next steps to be?
Well, so
bear in mind,
yes. Go ahead, John.
Bear in mind, she wants to have the 20th. Jean wants to have a 20th meeting.
Well, we have our regular meeting on the 20th
as well. Yeah.
I guess we need to get something to her by the end of next week.
Yeah.
So we need to warn a special meeting for next week to just talk about getting the subcommittee together.
Do you want to
so
do
I-
it? You want to do a Wednesday, Mike, again?
I guess Wednesdays we've been doing just because it allows us to, with the warning, even the 48 hours ahead of time. I think Wednesday is fine. If I know it's not ideal, right? Having to do these meetings at night, but this one will be more direct than what we went over tonight. So, we can really just jump right into brass tacks.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
I won't be available for that meeting.
That's okay.
Can
Well,
we-
I will make
Can we
a
facilitate, because right now it's just a few of us here. Abigail, and you're already saying you're not gonna be here. Next Wednesday, it is pushing it for me. I have my middle school meeting at 6, so I don't know how long we're gonna run. So is there a day next week that we can have more more people able to join? Is that something we want to send out first and say, do a poll and say, hey, Thursday or Friday, because we don't want to plan for next Wednesday and half of the people, I know, like, I might be able to join on later on. I don't know how long my meeting is going to run
Yeah.
for. And
I get that. I mean, it's just I think it's like sinking. I can almost see it sinking in Abigail's reality about the timeline that it's going to take to get all this stuff done, and a lot of that is everyone's busy. And
Abigail, willing to help. Just tell me what you need. And
yeah, no, I just I found that it's better to set a meeting and then just kind of force it versus like the doodle polls kind of.
So Abigail, since you're here right now, we need
drags it out.
Thursday, Friday. You said
yeah, I'm already preempting the I'm going to be sick next week because I'm starting to get sick and I have to travel next week. So I don't think I can layer in
nothing for next
an
week.
evening meeting for this.
What other nights are better for you, Naomi?
I apologize. I really love Park and Rec,
No, I
but
can
I
jump
think
on.
I have to.
I'll try to jump on
after
next week. Yeah, Abigail. I can try to jump on. Hopefully my meeting don't run too late. I can also just try to jump off and jump on here. So yes, Wednesday works for me.
Well, maybe we could put it to 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Leave it at 7. So I can just wrap everything up and be done for the evening. 7 is fine.
You guys don't need me for that, right?
No.
Okay.
No, but if we are doing, we're not doing anything for the job description next week.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I can't lie. I tuned out for a second.
We're not, Mike, next week's agenda is not job description.
Oh, no, I mean, so I guess, right. So next steps are getting this the subcommittee going, and part of the subcommittee can be the job description. So, correct. Okay. Next week should be about getting the subcommittee notice to the Board of Selectmen.
I think it would behoove us to have the exit interview before we adjust the job description.
Do you have interest in being on the subcommittee, Abigail, since you won't be there next week, or you can say no? I just didn't want to discount your potential interest. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I don't think I can.
Right. Well, I will make a motion.
I think that the person that got selected this last time by the committee was incredible. So I have good faith.
Yeah, he was mediocre. Do you want
me? Also remember going back to the employee manual that the job description is the responsibility of the first selectman working with the boards. But I fear that parsing it out to a subcommittee is going to protract the hiring process.
Yeah, I think we just want to make some pretty surgical changes to the job description. I think we know what one of them is. Just want to make sure that we look at it to make sure we're setting the person up for success. And so I don't know if Jared just wants to send us a note of where he maybe saw some things that hindered him from being able to do his job. We know the secretary thing is one. Then maybe we could just as a board redline the job description next at the meeting you guys all have next week, so that that's done with the Board of Selectmen by the 20th, and you can maybe next week.
Yeah, but if you're not going to be there and Jared's not going to be there, I don't know if that change is going to really have to.
Well, I'm
Right, and
sorry.
I can-
I wish I could be there, but
I know.
I can have so to help you all, and hopefully this helps. In the policy, it does say that the first selectman, when the first selectman deems it necessary, incumbent employees may be interviewed regarding job duties. So I can have a conversation with Jared and discuss that. You all can, Mike, if you can get out the current job description to the commission for the meeting next Wednesday, then you can make those surgical, those changes that you all want. And then between what you're recommending and what my conversation is with Jared, come Monday the 20th at that meeting, we'll wrap it all up into one bolus of edits, updates, which I don't think is going to be a lot, because again, a lot of work was done on that with the last committee. So I think it's going to be less than we think. So I think your two things are to get everybody the homework of looking at that job description over the next couple days in advance of the meeting on Wednesday, and then also get who wants to be on that hiring committee to come with the recommendations or make the recommendations by Friday, close business, to me, and then we'll talk about it as an agenda item on Monday.
Sounds
so the
good.
two homework
Sounds
items.
good.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. All right.
Real quick, do you guys? I don't care either way. It makes no difference to me. Do you want me on the subcommittee or whatever the subcommittee for interviewing and whatnot? If I'm still going to be here and on the payroll, or would you rather me be separate from that and just give my advice?
I think separate.
I think separate.
Easy enough.
All right. Well, I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:24 p.m.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Good work, y'all.
Good night. Thanks, Naomi. Welcome.
Welcome, Naomi.
Thanks, Jean.
Have a good night, you guys.
Abigail. Thanks, John. Bye. Thanks, Jared. Good night.
Doodles.